So I don't know what happened for anybody who was following this live, if for some reason it went off. But we're in our mountain pose right now. If you're back with us, welcome. And then from here, we're going to inhale our arms straight out from our shoulders. And we're going to bring our left arm on top of our right. Give yourself a nice hug. Let your elbows melt down. Let your head move a little bit side to side. Maybe you want to bring your chin forward too, or maybe it even feels good to look up, right? That's up to you. And then come back into center. See about heading towards half eagle or eagle wrap with your arms. So you can come into the half wrap or the full wrap. Start to sit back into like you're going into chair pose. Feel your thighs here. It doesn't matter how low you go. Just let it feel really good as you let yourself feel your thighs engaging, inner thighs melting down. Good. One more breath. And then come on up, release the arms beside you. We'll inhale them straight back out from our shoulders. And we're going to bring our right arm on top of our left. You can give yourself a hug here. And again, if your head feels like it wants to go somewhere, let it go. You know, let it come forward or side or rolls, whatever feels good. And then coming on back so that you can release to either the half eagle, the back of the left hand to the outside of the right elbow, or into your full wrap. And then again, sitting back like you're coming into chair pose. Feel the knees right out over the center of the feet. Inner thighs melting down, really engaging the quads here. Opening up, breathe into between the shoulder blades on your back. And then press into the feet and rise on up. And we're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend the knees and come forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And we're going to step our right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog pose. Good. Let your next inhale carry you to your plank. And your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra, your choice how high. Exhale back into downward dog. Inhale. Exhale right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend your knees, rising up, arms all the way to the top. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Let your inhale carry you to your plank. And again, the exhale lowers us down. And inhaling into your cobra of choice. And exhaling back into down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up. Arms all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward. Inhale, long back. We're going to come into down dog. Place your hands. And walk or jump your way back. Take your time there. Wag your tail a little bit. Walk if you need to. In other words, just kind of let your body move around however it needs. Good. And then bring your feet a little closer together. Lift your left foot up in the air. Come into a three-legged dog. Think about the toes facing down. Pressing back equally out of your hands. And then we're going to bring that left foot on forward. We're coming up for warrior one. So take your time. You might want to turn that back foot out, letting yourself rise forward with your arms and up overhead. So at first, keep your gaze forward. And let yourself feel your arms like they're growing out of your back. Pinky fingers turn towards each other. And then imagine you have a bar that's right at the base of your shoulder blades, like it's right across the base of your shoulder blades, right? And you're just going to think of lifting up and over that bar. So it's a little movement really, but there's that lift. It's like the heart starts to come forward on that diagonal line if you had a string attached there, so that you're really allowing yourself to feel that lift through the front of the body. Arms growing out of you so you don't feel tightness in your shoulders. One more breath. And then release your arms on down behind you. Clasp your hands. We're going to fold forward over the inner thigh here. Now you can keep your hands on your back or put them down if you need to. Or you can release your arms off your back and let yourself release your shoulders there. And then we're going to let our hands come on down, and we're going to walk around into a wide-legged forward bend. So let yourself walk on over so that you get your feet now pretty parallel. Take your time, and once you get set, blocks if you want under your hands, bend one knee at a time. Let yourself release a little bit from side to side. Find those inner thighs. Good. And then once you come back into center, you can decide if you want to use some support or you want to bring your hands between your feet. So if you need your blocks, grab your blocks, use them under your hands or under your forearms or your head. Or you can have your hands shoulder distance apart between your feet and hug your elbows a little inward and draw your shoulders away from your ears. And just breathe wherever you find that you can release your upper body now. See if you can let yourself feel those full deep breaths. Find those little spaces between your breaths. So see if at the end of your inhales, that little space, that little pause, you can feel it briefly before you exhale, and the same thing at the end of your exhales. So really just resting in those little spaces between your breaths. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to walk our hands back out to find a long back here. And we'll walk back to our left foot, coming on back into lunge. And make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Let's come on out to our plank. See if you can lift your right foot up for a little three-legged plank here. And then put it down and see if you can lift your left foot up a little bit. And then put it down, and you're welcome either to come in through a Kriya or a Vinyasa if you'd like to come into an up dog or a cobra. So you're on your own for a little bit here. Put your knees down and rest if you'd rather. If you'd like to move through some Vinyasas or Kriyas, do. If you'd like to stay in dog or rest in child's pose, do. Nice breaths. Good. And then let's meet back in downward facing dog pose. And this time the right foot comes up, so positioning your left foot so you can lift your right leg up for three-legged dog and let the toes face down towards the ground. Let yourself take your time to feel like you're zipping up your low belly. And then we're going to bring our right foot forward. And we're going to come up again for that warrior one. So adjusting that back foot, and as you come on up, if you need to readjust again, do. Bringing your arms forward and up. And again, it's at first, keep your gaze forward. Feel that back foot fully on the floor. Feel that openness through the front of your left hip. And then that bar at the base of your shoulder blades, lifting up and over that bar. So the belly is really engaged. There's no compression in the low back. The lift comes from here. You can feel that inhale up the front of the body. Exhale down the back of the body. Really letting, again, that feeling of the arms growing out of your back. Release your shoulders. One more breath. And then as we exhale, our arms are going to come down, hands behind this clasp. We're going to fold forward over this leg. Now how low you go is up to you. You can go all the way over the inner thigh. You can let your head hang if possible. And again, if you like, releasing your arms off your back, but you don't need to. And you can put your hands down to blocks or the floor if you want. And then we're going to let our hands come down, and we're going to walk around to that wide-legged forward bend. So adjusting your feet now, so getting the feet as parallel as you can, as wide as you want, bending a knee at a time. If that bothers your knees, don't do it. But if you can, feels good, you can bend one knee at a time. Good. Now come on back into center and turn your toes out a little bit. And then bend one knee at a time. So you find a little bit different stretch there. If you want, when you shift to the left, you can pick your right foot up and stay on your right heel and get a little bit even more different feeling there as you shift side to side. And some of you might want to shift down. I know that. If you shift to the left, you can put your right hand to support you behind you and bring your hips all the way down if you want towards the ground with the right toes facing up. Not necessary to do that stretch. If you're doing it, you just take your time. When you get ready to go to the other side, make sure you give yourself plenty of support. And then when we come on back, up into center, let's again get more parallel with our feet. And then again, take your time. You want to grab blocks, do. Maybe some of you want to hold your ankles to release here, or bring your hands behind you. Turn your fingertips back behind you and walk way back. Or again, leave your hands, forward or between your feet, whatever feels good for you. And then just breathe. Let the pose do it all for you. You're just following your breaths in and out. Letting go through your face, your jaw. One more full deep breath. And then we'll walk our hands on back out. We're going to walk back to that right foot and come back into our lunge and make our way back into downward facing dog pose. And you're on your own here. Put your knees down if you'd rather. Come through, out to plank. Don't even do a back bend if you don't want. Or come through chaturanga. Come into a vinyasa if you'd rather. Or a kriya where you don't even bend your elbows. So you take your time, move the way you need to. Allow yourself just to find what you can there. Good. And then we'll meet back in down dog. And from here, let's bring our left foot forward. We're coming into warrior two this time. So ease your way. You might want your blocks handy there. Ease your way on up. Reach your right arm back behind you. Keep your left hand on your left thigh for a second. Find the depth of how deeply you want to bend that left knee. And then go ahead and reach that right arm forward. You've got your your left knee lined up. Reach your left arm forward. Bring your gaze out over the top of your left hand. Feel the shoulders softening down. Feet firmly in the floor. Good. Let's turn the left palm up and inhale. Reach up towards the sky. Give yourself a little support there with your left hand. Breathe into the left, with your right hand, sorry. Breathe into the left ribs. And on your exhale, bring in your left hand or forearm down onto your thigh. Side angle, swinging that right arm up into line if your shoulder lets you. If it doesn't, keep your hand down. Or you can have the hand straight up from your shoulder. So allowing your shoulder to kind of tell you what you need to do here. Good. One more breath. And we're going to turn to face the floor and find a lunge here. So you may want your block underneath your hand. That's up to you. You may want to bring your hands to the floor. We're going to add a twist, left hand to the left hip, and turning into that twist with your left hand either down on your low back or stretching that arm up. So take your time. Try not to drop into that right side. Try to stay as level as you can in your hips. Lengthen out through the top of your head. And then we'll come on back down with that left hand, and we're going to make our way back into down dog. And again, do what needs to be done for you today, right? Come out to the plank or not. Put your knees down and rest if you want. Stay in dog if you'd rather. You move through vinyasas or kriyas if you want to. Good. Take your time. We'll meet back in down dog. And from here, the right foot's going to come forward, and we're coming on up again for that warrior two. So if you can keep your right hand down, let your left back arm reach back behind you. You can always look at it if you have any question of whether it's going right back from your shoulder. And then rising that right arm on up and forward, bringing your gaze out over the top of your right hand. Feel the shoulders softening down. Feel the feet in the floor. Good. And then we'll turn the right palm up and inhale, reaching up, feeling that breath, coming into making space between the ribs on the right side. And on the exhale, coming into your side angle. Again, it can be your hand or your forearm that comes down onto your thigh above your knee. And then you can add that top arm or not. Think about really pressing into that forearm, drawing your outer right hip back a little bit. So that lines up your knee really well, but you have all that length in your spine. Beautiful. One more breath. We're going to turn to face the floor and come into lunge, releasing that heel behind us and adding your twist. Right hand to your right hip or low back, stretching it up if you want. Good. One more breath. And then we'll come on back down with that right hand, and we're going to make our way back into down dog. Last vinyasas or kriyas if you want to do any more. So you can or not. That's totally up to you. Follow what feels good for you. If you'd rather open your hips, if you'd rather let yourself come into child's pose, do. And then we'll meet back in down dog. And from here, let's bend our knees really deeply. Think of your belly coming towards your thighs or onto your thighs even. And we're going to either jump or walk our way forward. So bringing yourself forward so that you come into Uttanasana, feet hips distance apart and parallel. And then release your hands, your arms to where you want. Nice, easy breaths. Letting the torso forward here. Just allow you to feel that openness in the backs of your legs. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips and bend our knees. We're going to rise up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So take your time here. Let yourself breathe. And then unfold your arms. Shake them out a little bit. Good. We're going to bring our mats to a wall. I have this funny feeling that, I don't know what happened, but I think we lost anybody who was there. So, but that's okay. Technology.
Yeah, at its finest, making our life easy.
Yeah. So, we're going to bring our hands to the wall, and we're going to walk back into, now if your wrist bother you, do fists, but coming into, if you can, that capital letter L shape with your body, so that you have your elbows hugging inward, you're pressing into your hands, down dog with your hands at the ball. Now you know, if this is too much for you, just stay up a little higher with your torso. But see if you can feel your feet equal in the floor. And then bring your feet to where they're almost but not touching, right? Maybe an inch between them. You won't know until you lift your right leg up to warrior three. If you need to, bring the right foot down and reposition your supporting leg. Even your hands, sometimes wider hands feel better here. And then you can lift your right leg up, turn the toes down, zip up your belly. Feel as equal as you can between your arms, your shoulders. Now bring that right foot down, and we're going to bring the left foot up for warrior three. Letting the toes face down. Let yourself just enjoy. Good. And then bring both feet down. Bend your knees for a second. Let yourself release. Good. And we'll try it one more time. Right foot comes up, turning the toes down, pressing equally into your hands. Good. And then lowering that foot down and coming to the left one. The left leg comes up. Toes face down, equal through the hands. Beautiful, you all. Really nice. And then let yourself release. Walk on into the wall. Circle through your hands a little bit as you turn your left shoulder towards the wall. And then from here, tilt your head to where the left side of your head just releases into the wall. And bring your right arm up and over, coming into a side stretch here. So the tips of the fingers might be right overhead. They may be forward, depending on your shoulder, right? Now, if you want to step to the right, away from the wall, you can. If it feels good to do that, you can step a little farther away, get a little more space between the ribs on that right side. I personally like my head to rest in the wall because I think it feels so good. One more breath. And then come on up, lower your right arm down, rise your left arm up. Now, if you can step back closer to the wall if you stepped away, do. And bend your left elbow. Put the hand wherever it comes behind your neck, your upper back. Bring your right hand back for your cow face arms. You can either just stay with the right hand low, facing palm outward, or you can move your hands towards each other. Keep your gaze forward. If it bothers your shoulder in any way, just don't go so far. Now try really hard not to tuck your tailbone forward, which is very tempting here. Think about reaching your tailbone down towards between your heels. And just let yourself enjoy opening up here in the chest, in the upper back, in the shoulders. Good. We're going to step to the right so we can unfold our arms right down beside us here now. Shake your arms out a little bit. We're turning around. And now again, get close and see if you can tilt your head to touch the wall with the right side of your head. So your neck releases, right? So when you press a little into the wall, you're engaging that left side of the neck, but it also feels really good when you're done. And then adding the left arm up. And again, this is all up to your shoulders, where that hand comes. Breathing into that left side. Feel the space between the ribs. All the spaces increase when you inhale. And then, of course, if you want to step away a little more because that feels really good, you can. You can still maybe keep your head on the wall, but you don't have to. You gotta love the wall. One more breath. And then we're going to come on up. And again, as you rise that right arm up, if you can step back in close to the wall, if you stepped away, do, but not if your shoulder won't let you. And again, bending that right elbow. So putting the left hand either low down on your back with the palm out or sending your hands towards each other. Doesn't matter if your hands touch. What you want to do is just be okay in your shoulders and then bring your gaze forward and feel your tailbone reaching down between your heels. Good. And let your shoulders release, opening up through the chest, the upper back. Nice. One more breath. And then we're going to step away, bring our arms on down, shake your arms out a little bit here, let them swing. We're going to come on down with our feet back towards the wall behind us. So come on down, let your toes touch the wall, shift towards your child's pose, and just release. I mean, you can use your hands, or if you want, underneath your forehead, or you can let yourself turn your head to the side. All of you know that just adjust to where it feels really good for you to be in your child's pose. Breathing into the low back. Good. And then let's come forward onto our forearms and come into a little dolphin pose here. So clasp your hands. If you'd rather separate your hands, you can, and let your forearms be parallel. Or you can do the hand clasp with the pinky fingers out, whichever feels best for you. And then lifting up, if you have a wall there at home, you can put your heels on the wall, but it's not necessary. You can be freestanding. And play a little bit here, elbows hug towards each other. If lifting a leg up so that one foot comes up the wall or both do, you can. And if you feel like you're not quite in the right place, if your heels are at the wall, go ahead and come down and readjust if you need to. And you know to take a break when you need to as well. So everybody is different, how their shoulders feel. You know, the purpose is to find those muscles that come wrapping around under your arms, not to add into your shoulders anything that's uncomfortable, right? So don't push it. Just be where you can. Good. And when you're ready to come down, you rest however you need, either in child's pose or maybe you feel better to sit up, right? To have your head back above your heart. That's up to you. Just be mindful. Take your time there. Good. And then we're going to come on around and come to sitting. So take your time. If you need to sit up on a blanket, do, so that you can allow yourself to be easy in your hips when you're sitting. We're going to just bring our legs on out into a wide angle. So if you need to put blankets rolled up underneath your knees, do, right? Flex through the feet. If you like to grab a block to think about coming forward to, do that too. And then just ease your way here into feeling the heels and on the ground drawing back towards you, and then toes and the knees facing up. So it's, again, that pinning the inner and outer thighs down so the toes don't roll forward or backward. And then take your time, you know, and you can get your feet. Depending on how far apart your legs are, you may be more comfortable to reach down for your toes, right? Sometimes if your legs are farther apart, then that's harder to do, right? You can't reach, so you can always put something in front of you, a block or just hands on the floor. And then just breathe. Let yourself go with it. Let the inner thighs get a nice release there. Nice. One more breath. And we're going to slowly make our way up. And we're going to come down onto our backs. But have your blocks handy, both of them, in case you want them. Right here by you before you come down. And then we'll come on down and let our knees easily come into our chest. Let your knees come a little bit side to side. Release your back here. And then send your feet up into a little happy baby, sliding your thighs on off towards the outer ribs. If you want to hold on behind your thighs or reach up to your feet, whichever works for you, where you feel really good in your hips. And then we'll bring our feet down to the floor. Bring your feet wider towards the outside edges of your mat. Kind of try to center yourself, okay? And then let your knees come down to the left, and see if you can just let that left thigh feel really, right thigh feel really heavy. And if that hurts your knee, don't do this, right? But just feeling a nice release there for the quad. If you want, you can even bring your arms up like a little higher than your shoulders so that you're making a Y with your arms, if that feels good. And then bring the knees back up through center, and we're going to bring them over to the right. And then again, Just think about feeling that release of that left thigh. You're not pushing, you're just letting the weight. And obviously, again, if it hurts your knee, don't do it. And then come back up. We're going to go back to the left. Now, again, you can stay just where we were. If you want a little more, lift your left foot up and put it on the outside right above your right knee, kind of on the outside of the leg. And then you have a little more weight and a little more openness now for the front of the right hip, for your hip flexor there. And again, don't do it if it doesn't feel good. And then come on back, release that foot down, come back through center, knees go to the right. Right foot picks up and goes to the outside right above your knee there. Again, so that is up to you if you actually do that or not. And just breathe. Should feel good. If it doesn't really, if it feels uncomfortable, don't do it. And then we'll bring the right foot down and bring the knees back up. Bring your feet on back in. Do a couple little pelvic tilts. We're setting up for a bridge pose. Bring your arms down alongside you. Whether you decide to bend your elbows or keep your arms long, that is up to you. Try to get your feet fairly parallel, a little wider than mountain now. Press into your feet and start to rise the hips on up. Roll your shoulders under. Once you get there, or even more if you can. So whether your arms are bent as you press into the back of the arms, or straight with your palms down, or clasping your hands underneath you and rolling your shoulders under more there. Just feel the back of the head gently coming into the floor. Not harsh, it's just gentle. So it's easy. You're not tucking your chin way down, but you're not lifting your chin up. And now see if you can release to get a block. And bring a block underneath, lowest height, underneath your sacrum, and come down on it for a second. And just, get comfortable. Make sure you're not hanging off the block, right? You're really supported there. And just stay for a breath. And then bring your arms back down alongside you if they drifted away. Lift up off the block, and you can decide if you want to put another block in or take that block out and be done, or stay on that height. So some of you may want to do 2 blocks and be up really high and be supported. And some of you may want to forget the blocks. Anybody who wants to come down and put their hands on the floor above their shoulders and lift up into a full upward facing bow pose, you're more than welcome to do that. When you're ready to come down, be really mindful. Take your time as you come on down, especially if you're way up high on those 2 blocks. Bring your right knee in towards your chest and extend your left leg down long on the floor. And then just switch. Bring your left knee on in and stretch your right leg down long. And then bring both knees in and immediately let your body do whatever it feels inclined to do. Right? If you need to extend your legs up, if you want to do a plow pose, if you feel like cross-country skiing up there on the ceiling, if you need to do a Baddha Konasana with the soles of your feet together, or perhaps you need another twist, you can always pick your favorite twist. So just let your body kind of take over here instead of you trying to do what you feel like you should do what you feel like doing, right? So that when we get ready to come into our Shavasana, it'll feel easy. come around and start to turn lights out, so don't let me bother you here. Just keep on doing what you're doing. And, you know, I have all this stuff here at the studio. Those of you at home, you find what you need to be comfortable. So blankets underneath, rolls for under your knees if you need. Want a bolster?
And a blankie.
Okay, got it.
It just makes me more relaxed, I have
know.
discovered.
It does, I'm really that close to you.
Thank you.
So just be easy. Let yourself find a comfortable place for your arms, for your legs, so that you can feel released into your shoulders and your hips. Be with your breath now, accepting your breaths in and out. And when your mind wanders off, just gently bring yourself back. Finding those little places of quietness. Giving yourself time to benefit from all you just did. Allowing yourself to completely and fully relax. firmness of the ground underneath you again. And let your breaths gradually deepen so that you feel the physical movement as you breathe in and out again. Imagine sending your breath all through your body, really to bring your body back into wanting to physically move. Fingers and toes, hands and feet might be able to lead you. You might even want to circle your hands, your feet, moving through your wrists, your ankles. So just take your time, let your body come back naturally. Just ease your way, whether you feel better to stay on your back or roll into a fetal position on either side. Take your time. You know when you feel okay to rise up to sitting. You're going to be all right in the way you're sitting so your hips feel okay, whether you feel better to stretch your legs out or cross them or sit on a blanket or two. And let yourself ease your way back up to sitting with the top of the head reaching up and shoulders softening down away from your ears. Come back to watch your breaths now. In and out. And let your next exhale allow your hands to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Tuesday. Almost Happy New Year. Getting closer.
You know, it's gonna be magic, everything's gonna be all perfect on January 1st.
Don't.
You love people's attitude, like, I can't wait till the end of this year.